Hello and welcome to episode 51 of Novel Knits. My name is Dehnel and this is my YouTube channel where I talk about what I'm knitting and what I'm reading. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are new, welcome. I hope you like what we talk about and you want to come back. And if you are returning, thank you so much. I'm always happy that you choose to spend some of your time with me. And thanks for all the comments and likes on my last video. That was one of those videos where, and I'm going to be very transparent here, I usually record my videos 3 times before I feel like, okay, I don't think I stumbled too much. I can put it out into the YouTube universe. And last video, I was like, I don't have time. I'm just gonna put it out. I didn't feel at my best, but I had more views and people seemed to like genuinely like it. So I think maybe I'm just gonna stop putting so much pressure on myself and just go with the flow more. So that is the spirit that we are starting today with. We'll see where it takes us. I have a lot of knitting. I've been doing a ton of knitting, so I have a lot to talk about today. So I'm gonna kind of cut the chatty stuff short. I'll just kind of chat while I'm talking through my projects. But really quick, just the stuff you need to know. I'm Novel Knit Girl on Instagram and Ravelry if you want to find me anywhere there. If you would like to join in my year-long make-along called Shop Your Stash 2024, I have a group on Ravelry where you can post your finished objects, or you can use the hashtag Shop Your Stash 2024. Just make sure you tag me so that I see it. And I do quarterly prizes, and then I'm gonna have 1 or 2 big prizes at the end of the year to give away. So please join us. And you don't have to be doing a no-buy year. You can just be using stash yarn. I am doing a combination. I started this year very I had not purchased yarn from like October through, we'll say, the beginning of March. And I was like, this is gonna be easy. I'm gonna have a no-buy year. I'm finally gonna do it, guys. And then March hit and yeah, the floodgates opened and I bought a lot of yarn over the past month and a half, but I think I'm done now. I think I'm in a good place now. I don't think I need to buy any more. But yeah, I don't usually show my acquisitions on here. I actually have one thing I'm gonna show today just because it ties into one of my projects, but I'm just honest when I show you my projects if I'm using stash yarn or new yarn that I purchased this year, and that's just how I'll continue to do it. I was hoping to have a no-buy year. I mean, I made it further than I ever have before, so that was good. But we're realists around here as well, and I'm not perfect. I never pretend to be perfect. But you can just, anything that you make using stash yarn, which has been in your stash since before January 1st of this year, you can enter it into the make-along and hopefully win a pattern or a big awesome prize at the end of the year. So thanks for those of you who've been participating. I always love seeing what you guys are working on. That's I think my favorite thing about this channel is getting to see what you are all doing as well. And I get very inspired from all of you, and I add so many patterns to my favorites. I look up yarns that I haven't used before, and it's dangerous, but I love it. All right, so I was not gonna chat so much, so we're gonna get going. I am wearing today my Livy shawl. I made this last year. It's L-I-V-I-E. I wanna say the designer's Tammy Gore. If I'm wrong, I will put it on the bottom. I made this last year using yarn from Lolo Did It. I believe this is Hello Gorgeous and Rumpelstiltskin. And I really like how the green and the pink play together. And yeah, this is a great shawl, and I think this is the first time I'm ever wearing it. I had that moment where I realized I don't really wear my shawls, so I'm trying to get better about that. Okay, let's get into finished objects. I only have one this week. And disclaimer right off the bat, there's no Douglas Cardi today to show. It needs a break. I need a break from it. So the Douglas Cardi is in a timeout indefinitely. There will be a day when I just pick it up and finish it over 2 days, because that's really as long as it's probably gonna take me for the amount of work I have left to do with it. I just don't want to work on it. So instead, I've been working on things that make me happy. So that's what I'll be showing today. I finished my Freddy beach socks. This is a pattern by Nancy Wheeler of Knit Sip Happy. I really loved making these. I could definitely see myself making this pattern again. All of Nancy's patterns are really lovely, easy to follow. I love how these turned out. So the yarn I used was all leftovers from my stash. The Copper Cloud is from Leading Men Fiber Arts. I don't believe this is a great sock yarn. It's really just from being in my bag, my project bag, it's kind of gotten fuzzy and pilly. It's not, the camera's not picking it up, just trust me. So I don't think these are gonna hold up perfectly well, which is fine. I don't mind. I actually have so many socks that I don't wear them all that often enough that I have to worry about that. And then the contrast color is Parasol, and that is by Midnight Cravings. I made a pair of socks for my daughter Claire in this colorway, and I just love how they look together. I think they're so very pretty, and they were a joy to make. So I've really, really enjoyed the process of making these. I started these February 23rd of 2023. So they were a whip for over a year, but I'm so happy to have them now, and I love them. They're 64 stitches magic loop, and they are for me. All right, I'm gonna go into, I have two half objects. I have a lot of socks today. I finished one of my Mercury socks. This is a free pattern by Kim Drotar. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. And the yarn that I used is Vivid Yarn Studio in the color Cherie. And I made these 72 stitches, and I'm not sure why, but they're for me. It's gonna be the story of my sock life. They're all for me. I just adore these socks so much. The color is outside of my wheelhouse. You're gonna see a lot of that today. But I really, really love this. So these look complex, right? Because they're a lace sock. It is a 5-row repeat. Maybe 6, but I'm pretty sure it's 5. And very memorizable. So after you've done about this much of the sock, you have it. And then it's just super easy. So on these, I did a heel flap and gusset. I've been doing a lot more heel flap and gussets this year than I ever have before in my life. And if I was not doing the lace pattern, this is what the yarn looks like. So it's just very, very pretty. And I have not cast on for the second sock because I just decided to cast on a lot of brand new socks. But I will cast on for another sock. I think what I love the most about this yarn is, it's gonna sound weird, but I love the black speckles because the rest of it is so pastel-y and neon, and then that black just kind of comes in and grunges the whole thing down, and I really appreciate that. So I will cast on the second sock soon because this one I started June 21st of 2023, so it would be phenomenal if I could finish this within a year. That is my new goal. Is let's finish socks within the year that we cast them on. All right, my next sock half object is the Fuzzy Feet sock. This is a pattern by Forest City Knit Girls, and this is a nice coordination to what I am wearing today. I used to not be a pink person, but you guys, pink and me have become friends. We're friends now. This is the Fuzzy Feet sock by Forest City Knit Girls. The pattern calls for, it's called Fuzzy Feet because it has mohair added in. I just did not add the mohair. So the yarn that I'm using is Suburban Stitcher, and it is her sock yarn, and it's the colorway are Coral and Shell. I bought this as a yarn kit for a different sock that did not work out, and I'm really happy with these. There was one point in the sock when I re-picked them up. So in the top, obviously you do the patterning all around the foot. Then I did the heel flap and gusset again. You do your heel flap and gusset, and then on the bottom, you just stripe. Well, when I picked it up again, after it sat in my project bag for a while, I started doing the pattern on the bottom of the foot. I could have just left it. It would have been okay. But instead I undid it, and I had some trouble getting back, and I inadvertently slipped a stitch there. They're gonna be on my feet. I don't think anybody's gonna notice but me, but I'm really happy with these. I love how they're turning out. I'm really happy with them. Yeah, so this side just looks a little sloppier because of that, but this side looks beautiful. So I'm happy with these. And again, I did not cast on the second sock yet. It'll happen, it'll come. So I have 2 half objects, and then I'm back to having a bazillion sock whips, and I'm okay with that. All right, next let's get into, all right, I do have a little, here it is. I have so much around me today. This has a little drama. Not totally happy with this guy. So for my last make along that ended, my cozy winter reads and makes, first annual, hopefully, make along, I cast on the Bennett sister shawl. I've been looking forward to making this shawl for a long time. I was excited when I found yarn to work. It's been going. And yeah, I casted it on a long time ago. When did I cast this on? January 11th of this year. So I casted it on. I had like a mental break, and then I ripped out and re-knit a big section. And then I added the mohair, and I was loving life. And I've been so happy with it. And then I got to here. I ran out. So let me give you the basics, then we'll talk about this more. So I love it. I love this. I really, really love it. I don't know if you can see I've shown this so many times. It's phenomenal. I love it. The yarn, Sassy String Sock and Goddess, that's this yarn. And then the mohair is Les Garçons Mohair Silk in the Golden Monkey color, which was a club color from their His Dark Materials mystery club that I did a couple years ago. And so I looked on Les Garçons on their website, and they had something that I was like, that'll work. I just grabbed it. And I got this, and this is called Goldenrod, and I think this is a good match, right? I think I could get away with it, and it's such a small amount. But then when it showed up, it's sport weight, which means it's gonna be a little bit thicker. Now, I think it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna go for it, because at this point, I don't know what else to do. So I'll be winding this up and finishing the shawl, and then I'll have to figure out what to do with the rest of this sport weight mohair. But yeah, this even has, it has fewer yards, because when I put it in Ravelry, I put all my stash yarn in Ravelry, and it has like 60 yards less than the mohair silk that I got like 3 years ago. So they changed their base. It's all fine. It's like, at this point, it's just a comedy of errors, but I actually think color-wise it'll work, and I'll try it. And if it looks weird, then I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. So hopefully that will be finished soon. Next time we meet, that one should be done. Okay. Now I've been working on 2 sweaters quite a bit. And this one, I feel like this is, actually both of them are at a point where I think they could be done in the next few weeks, which is exciting. So the first one is the Alder Grove by Samantha Guerin. Sometimes I feel like I should show you the pictures. For this, I am using Lavender Loon yarn in her Cotton Fluff and Slub Fingering, both in the Pen Gully color. And I don't know if you can see, but it's like a slub and kind of like a fluffy mohair, but it's not mohair, it's cotton. It's a cotton blend, and it's really interesting. And that was what drew me to this pattern, was the texture of the yarns. So this is the cotton fluff, and this is the slub. And the slub has these fun little slubbies. And so when the pattern came out a few years ago, Samantha of Lavender Loon was selling kits, and I got one, and I think I got the size 3 kit, but I'm making size 4. And this is, I'm really happy. It's gonna fit the way I want it to fit with like kind of a sweatshirty feel. So here's where we're at. I am working on the bottom hem and I'm so happy with it being fingering weight yarn on a size 5 needle. It's going at a fine pace. It's not like knitting with worsted or DK. It goes a little bit more slowly, but I am really happy with it. And it's a lot of striping, a lot of texture. It's really kind of cool. It's gonna fit me very, very sweatshirty. It's gonna come down kind of far. I was following the pattern really well, and then we got to a point where in the written pattern, it says to do this, and then here start for the ribbing. And I am kind of tall, so I didn't want it to feel cropped at all, so I added 2 extra stripes. And now I'm working on the ribbing, and the ribbing is really nice. It is a broken rib, so that's helping it go a little bit faster. And I think I have plenty of yarn to finish this up. I mean, I hope. I've been alternating the 2 skeins of slub. My yarn looks terrible. I'm sorry, I just hit the camera. But so for the sleeves, this feels like enough. And then for sleeves and collar and finishing up the hem, I mean, I hope so. The pattern calls for like elbow length sleeves. I'm kind of hoping to get longer, but if not, I will be fine with the elbow length sleeve. I'm just gonna try to use up as much of the yarn as I can. And this is definitely a using stash. This is what I bought this yarn for. I couldn't see myself using this yarn for anything else, which is why I decided to cast it on. And I think the fit's gonna be really nice. I think it'll be something that I can wear with jeans or leggings, and I think it'll be pretty versatile. So I'm excited about it. So it's coming along, and this is also my year of green. I am not shying away from any of the green yarn in my stash because I love green. My next work in progress is the Big Rib sweater by Jessie Maed Designs. I'm making this out of Knit Picks Wonder Fluff in the Beehive Heather color. I started this on March 30th, and I don't remember what size I'm making, but I'm using, I did go up a needle size, I believe, to 10.5 needles. And yeah, so I'm about to start the hem on this one as well, the bottom ribbing. So I have 2 sweaters that are, you know, getting close, which is exciting. There's a lot of ends in this one because the top construction is really fun. So here's where I'm at. And then once I block it out, it will not pull in quite so much. I've tried this one on too. It's on track to fit well. I'm excited. Yeah. Not a lot to say about this one just because it is what it is. It'll look better when it's blocked. I've had some reservations about this yarn. However, I did block my swatch, and blocked out, it does look really nice. So I'm hopeful that I'm gonna like this. And this one has been on my list for a really long time. And yeah. Maybe next time I'll block it before I show it. Which will be, I think I'm gonna do that when I finish the body anyway, just so I can kind of do a final fit check before I add the sleeves. I'm really trying to make sweaters this year that I will wear because they fit my body the way I want them to. So I'm putting in the extra time and effort for that. All right, moving along. This is going well. I'm excited. All right, next we're gonna have a bit of a sock parade. So I'm just gonna pick up sock bags and we'll go through them. All right, I cast on 3 new socks. These are the Morning Coffee socks by the Crazy Sock Lady Designs. I cast these on April 29th, and I am using a Yarn to Die For Birdie Bot's Delicious Beans. And these are 64 stitches magic loop. I haven't yet decided if these are gonna be for somebody else or for me. We'll see. I love this yarn. Again, out of my comfort zone, but I kind of am in love with them. So this pattern is a paid for pattern, but it's It's a less expensive one. It's just It's just knits and purls in very memorizable. This is probably, of all the socks that I cast on, my favorite one to work on, because it's memorized in my brain and I can just go around and around and around, and it's very, very easy, and I just love the yarn. The yarn makes me very happy on this one. So these ones I think will probably get done the soonest, just because of the rhythm that I'm in with them. And then I'm a little warm with this Livy on today. Whew. And the sun is coming in through the window right at me, so I'm a little warm. And I only have hot tea to drink. Take a sip anyway. I often wish that I was one of those really relaxing speakers. One of my favorite people to watch lately has been Amy Palco. She's got such a wonderful podcast, and she's got such a gentle voice and way about her. And I love listening to her talk. And I'm like, be more like Amy, be a little bit more gentle, but it's just not my personality. But it's fun to strive to try to be different. My next sock is the Whistledown socks. So I kind of just decided that I wanted to start a pair of Bridgerton themed socks. With Bridgerton season is upon us. I think the next season, the first half starts in April and the second half in June. And these are going to be for my mom. These are the Whistledown socks by Rachel Fletcher. And I've really enjoyed these. So the top is a great like twisted rib pattern. And then, oh, it's going to be hard to see. Let me see if I can show this. And then there's this really easy, simple, pretty lace pattern at the top. You can kind of see it. Yeah. And then the rest of it is just stockinette. So that's probably why I've kind of stalled, because I was really enjoying all of this. And now I'm like, oh, it's just stockinette. But the yarn I'm using is really amazing. It is Knox Yarn Company, and it is the color Sweet Solstice. And it's just beautiful, like speckles and purples, and it felt delicate. At first I thought maybe I'd be able to make these for my mother for Mother's Day this weekend, but she'll just get them. It's probably for Christmas, because let's face it, these would be a nice Christmas gift. So I'm enjoying these a lot. I can show you a picture that will probably show the lace a little bit better. I'm trying, oh, unless I didn't print it out and see. I'm trying not to print out my patterns, but sometimes I go back to old habits and I print them out. So that's what they look like. And I actually have quite a few Whistledown Bridgerton themed socks in my library. And then when I was looking through them, I'm like, oh, some of these are a little complex. I don't know if I'm up to that. Like, this seemed like a good balance of having the lace at the top and then stockinette. So now I can take it anywhere that I go with me and just knit on the rest of the sock. Okay, and my last new sock cast on is the Hello Sunshine socks. These are a pattern by Tracie Millar. Somebody made a pair of these recently and I saw them and I was like, I'm pretty sure I have those in my library and I must make them. So this is the pattern picture, just so you can see, because you'll see when I show you, my yarn choice was quite busy, but I think it's working. So I am using Cat Sandwich yarns in the color Aurora Borealis. So I think Knox Yarn Co., who I just showed, I don't think they're dying right now. Cat Sandwich, they do updates, and sometimes I love their, sometimes you can grab something off their update. If you are interested, you can get Cat Sandwich yarns. I love this, you guys. Here it is. So this pattern is kind of brilliant because this looks like a big cable pattern and it is not. It is made by just simple stitches, and The back is 1x1 rib, which is why it pulls in so much. But I love the yarn. I'm enjoying the pattern. I decided, I don't know if I'll ever do this again, but I decided to do the thing where you start the sock with a pop of a color. And I haven't decided yet if I'm going to add it as my heel or not. This is probably some of my oldest stash yarn. I don't even remember what it is, but I've had this yarn for so long. So I'm kind of trying to like finish it up. So maybe I will do the heels in pink. Why not? These are for me. I am gonna start some socks for other people soon. And the Whistledown socks are from my mom. So I'm not totally sock selfish, but I am pretty sock selfish. Mainly because I know I love my socks. All right, I have a new tank top that I decided to cast on. And I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it. It's kind of one of those things where I don't exactly know why I did this, but I did. Well, I do know, because I watch a lot of knitting podcasts and I'm easily influenced. So this is the Summer Secret Crop by Jessie Maed Designs. And this is a free pattern. I have a lot of her patterns that I've purchased, but I decided to try this free pattern because I saw somebody else make one and I thought I'd yarn for that. The thing that's great about this pattern for a free pattern is she gives you instructions for fingering and DK weight. There are also instructions if you want waist shaping. I did not. And I just cast on and I'm going. So the yarn that I'm using is Vivid Yarn Studio Merino DK in the color Dreamer. I bought this at least 2 years ago and I've always wanted to use this for a Jessie Maed pattern and I cast on. So I don't know what I'm doing. I am alternating skeins and you start at bottom up. It's got a pretty short rib hem and I am just doing stockinette now. And then you separate from the back and front. And then I think I'm gonna make wider straps than they call for in the pattern, or she calls for in the pattern, but I haven't gotten there yet. So at this point, I'm just stockinette and enjoying it. And then I figure if I like this, I have another fingering weight skein of Vivid yarn that is kind of a coral color that maybe I would make a second one. So I kind of wanted to test it out with DK because I thought it would go faster. And I have more fingering weight garments on the needles now than I've ever had in my life. And I guess it's only one, but then I'm gonna be doing a couple more. So I wanted something that might feel like it was gonna go a little bit faster. Oh my goodness, my mother is here. Oh, Lordy. Okay. And then just since we're here, my next cast on, I've kind of been hard on myself saying that I cannot cast on anything new until I've cast off at least those two sweaters, the Alder Grove and the Big Rib. But I'm dying to cast on the Surrey shirt by Kadri. And I did swatch. So the yarn that I'm using is Sonder Yarn Co. and Muse, and the color is Moss. And I did a swatch. And I don't have enough stitches per inch. It's a pretty tight gauge swatch, which I like, but I also am okay. So I'm going up to a US size 3 for the body. The needle sizes for this are a little weird. It was a 1.5 and a 2.5, and I had to purchase both of those needles, and the 2.5 ended up being a little bit tight of a gauge. So I'm going up to a US size 3 needle. And I will be I will be casting that on as soon as at least those two sweaters are done, because it's more than, I have a lot of bags all around the house. It's a lot. And more so than that though, it's the needles and the cords. I have, I think, 4 or 5 interchangeable needle sets, which allows me to do all of this like casting on with Wild Abandon and doing the swatches and all of that. But there gets to be a point where if you have too many sweaters on the needles, you don't have enough needles or cords to effectively cast on. And I don't want to keep buying more needles because we have enough. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to share is a blanket. I'm going to try to give an update on a blanket per episode just because I'm trying to be better at working on my blankets. And so I've put quite a bit of work on my excavation, and this is a pattern by Jane Pinota. And I started this in January 17th of 2024, and it is coming along. So I do have a marker, it's hard to see, but I have a marker right here. That's where I was the last time I showed it. So I've added all of this, and it's starting to, the rows are starting to feel long, and it's exciting. And I really, this brings me a lot of joy. I've mentioned on here before that garter projects are my happy place. I love a garter blanket. I love a garter sweater. I love garter. And I love working with all the colors again. I've added in a lot of scraps. So what I do is I go through my scraps and I grab ones that I haven't used yet, and I put them in this blanket, not this blanket, in this bag. And then I use them all, and then I put them back to the bin that they came from. And so after I go through these, then I'm gonna go through my bags that I have my cozy memory blankets in and do a stripe from everything in those. I think they're both in one bag right now. So then I'll do a stripe with everything in there. And then I will go back to the scraps I started with and then kind of go through the process again. So it's really been fun just revisiting the yarn. And you know, sometimes I think, okay, I'll do a solid and then a stripe, and then, or a solid and a speckle, or then I have some self-striping yarn I'm putting in, and that's been interesting to see how that works up. But I'm in love with it. It's so fun. When I'm done, I will really secure these ends well and trim them much shorter than they are. I just keep them long for now. And then, but they'll be much shorter when I'm done. So yeah, I'm excited by it. Whew, that was a lot of talking. All right, so that's it for the yarny stuff today. Thank you so much if that's all you're here for. I'm gonna move into book club and maybe some chatty stuff at the end. We'll see how long this is getting. Okay, I finished quite a few great books recently. So in different genres, I finished The Women by Kristen Hanna. I gave that 4 stars. I really liked it. I thought it was super well done. You know, there were parts of it I didn't love. It was sad, it was hard, it was heavy, but it was good. I think it's one of her better books. And you could really, I felt like I was there sometimes. And so I think she did what she set out to do. I also finished, you guys, I finally finished I Have Some Questions for You by Rebecca Mackay. Gave it 3 stars. The ending was, after everything, kind of good and kind of a letdown all at once. I don't know. Felt it was too long. It certainly took me too long to read it. I don't know. My mom took it to read, so I'll let you know if she liked it more than me. Bride by Ali Hazelwood, I gave that 4 stars. You guys, I actually really liked that book. Ali Hazelwood does a lot of STEM, female, women scientist romances. They're very clever, very good. And this was her first kind of supernatural book about a vampire bride marrying a werewolf. And I really loved it. I thought it was really good. It kept her kind of signature sass, but in a different way. And, you know, I think the romance writers that I read and am enjoying, they're either very clever and witty, or they've got a different element to their writing. But Ali Hazelwood is one that, like, she gets a really good balance between like humor, a good plot line, and a nice romance. So I really liked it. Then I read Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I gave that 4 stars. I liked it. It was about enhanced humans. It kind of had echoes of like the Boys TV show on Amazon, but not nearly as gory or gross, but kind of people that have kind of superhero-esque qualities or like X-Men mutant qualities, and how they're viewed by others in society and how they view each other and the struggle between what's right and wrong. I thought it was good. I gave that 4 stars. A lot of 4-star books this time, which was great. And then I read Just for Summer by Abby Jimenez that just came out recently. I give it 4 stars. You guys, it was one of her best. It is, again, witty. I laughed out loud. The romance was very good. This is a great summer read if you haven't read it already. I loved it. And then I read Funny Story by Emily Henry. I love her. 5 stars. Excellent book. Again, laugh out loud. Also, the story was just great and very relatable. Yeah. So some of my favorite authors had new books come out recently, and it was a nice little waterfall of like fresh stories from some people I really like to read. And that also, on that vein, The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo, that was great. I give it 4 stars. I'm having a hard time recalling details from it, but I really enjoyed that one. And then I followed that with Dreams Lie Beneath by Rebecca Ross. She is the author of Divine Rivals, and this was one of her earlier books. And again, I loved it. I felt like great authors she builds a great magical world, and you're just in it, and it was great. So then I was like having a hard time deciding what I wanted to read, because I'm like, I had so many like 4 and 5 star excellent books. So then I decided to go back to a earlier Abby Jimenez book and read the Happy Ever After playlist. And I just thought that one was okay. It deals with one thing I just don't like. I don't like stories about musicians that make it big. For some reason, that is an area that I don't jive with. So like Daisy Jones and the Six, I watched the show on Amazon. I'm like, this isn't my thing. Those types of stories are just not my favorite, or anything like that. Anything with like celebrity or someone like making it big, I hate that. So, but overall, it still got 3 stars for me. And then I read Worst Wingman Ever by Abby Jimenez. That was an Audible original. It was free, and it was about an hour and a half listen. And I gave that 3 stars. That was kind of cute. Currently, since I finished, sorry, I'm trying not to move the camera. I have some questions for you. I repicked up The North Queen by Nicola Tracie, and I'm reading this again. It's finally gotten a little bit interesting, but this is a thick book. And this is something I'm regretting. So I was definitely influenced on Bookstagram, and this was a series. It is not on Audible or Kindle, and that should have told me. But then I was like, well, I might as well just buy the whole series at the same time, not realizing they were this thick. So yeah, I've kind of committed to this series, and so far it's okay. A young woman wakes up, has no memory, and gets found by this guy, and she's a queen. He brings her back to her kingdom. She has no memory. She doesn't know anybody. Everything's new, and people are keeping things from her. So it's okay. It's finally just gotten a little bit better. So I'm also reading Let's Talk About Hard Things by Anna Sale. Apparently she has a podcast. I've never heard of her or her podcast before, and I thought this was interesting. So it's talking about like death, sex, money, something else. I haven't gotten to the 4th thing yet, so I don't remember what the 4th thing is, but just how you have to talk about those things in relationships with family and even friends. It's okay. It's not like life-changing or anything, but it's not hurting anything to read it, so there we go. And then I'm just about to start The House on the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I've heard all good things about this. This book has probably gotten the same, similar, no, it hasn't. I was gonna say the same amount of hype for me as The Fourth Wing. Oh, there it is. But I would say, actually, no, the Fourth Wing I felt had a lot of hype, but this one I feel has had a fair amount of hype. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope I enjoy it. And right now I've read 42 out of 100 books for my reading goal for the year. So I'm 7 books ahead. So this last week I kind of took a break and listened to some podcasts that I hadn't listened to in a long time, and just took a break from reading because sometimes, I mean, I read a lot of great books and I don't really remember a few of them. So I was like, maybe I should just slow down a little bit. But yeah, other than that, we are busy. Our son Milo is 13 and he is in track and he does travel baseball. So we are very busy with his schedule. Every once in a while when there's a bad rainstorm, we're kind of excited these days because it gives us a night off. Our daughter Claire turned 16. She did pass her driving test and got her license. So that has been wonderful. Now she is driving herself to and from school, which is a mile from our house, and to her dance rehearsals, which is awesome. Claire and I are gonna go see Moulin Rouge. It's touring in Milwaukee, so we're gonna go see Moulin Rouge later this month. We're excited for that. I haven't been to the theater in a long time, so I'm really looking forward to that. And other than that, I'm trying to think if there's anything exciting with me. I've been super lazy about my gardens, and that is actually why my parents are here. Luckily, they're in their 80s, so I don't think they see me in here, but they're helping me, and I'm very thankful. It's been a challenging year for a couple reasons, and I've been lazy, and I have not wanted to clear out my gardens and get them ready. And my parents are like, well, we'll come over, we'll do it. We're retired, we've got time. And I'm like, okay, thanks, I'll take it. All right, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm always happy to see you. Please let me know what you're working on, what you're reading, and anything else you feel like chatting about, bring it up, and I will see you next time. Bye.